James Goodpasture, or Jim, and this is Dr. Juan Gallardo.
Or Juan, right?
We're from the Dr. Sam Pack College of Business here at Tarleton, and we're going to talk to you about our development in teaching financial literacy to high school students.
All right. Well, we first started this opportunity with NIL, and so we knew that there was a need for financial literacy specifically with our athletes. So what we did, Dr. Goodpasture and I, we saw an opportunity to teach financial literacy to our athletes, and so we did this with our football players. And you had a GA, one of our GAs.
Right, Matt Hadley, he was a student athlete, and with the NIL, that name, image, and likeness, that's how they get paid nowadays. Well, this was just starting, and the theory at the time, or our theory, was that if we teach them about financial literacy, they'd be less likely to sign a bad NIL contract.
Or spend their money in like Lamborghinis. And we haven't seen some here on campus, so we like to think that we did okay.
Yeah.
Right. And so from
No,
our athletes.
yes, we again presented it and gave them a pre and post, trying to get them to focus on the future. And probably, yes. Next slide. At the symposium that year, Juan was at a conference, I think, so he was not in the picture, but we ended up winning first place in the graduate division.
So I was there. He just pulled them aside to take a picture. Yeah, he just pushed me aside. Uh, so we kind of wanted to expand a little bit from that because it was a great opportunity for us to teach financial literacy. We saw it with our athletes, but one of the things that we were having a discussion with is like, okay, we're trying to get them to make adult financial decisions while they're already here. And why not go ahead and teach that when they're in the high school level where they have an opportunity to really put that to practice and learn more about it. So we did. We had an opportunity to visit with Coach Kilcoyne, which is one of Dr. Goodpasture's good friends. And we had an opportunity to go to Stephenville High School and teach financial literacy there. So we did 2 months. Was it 2 months?
I think 2 months over two separate semesters. He had
Yeah.
uh,
And we were going there just once a week, so on Friday. So we would go there at 8:30, and then we're out by noon. But we were actually getting an opportunity to talk to about 100 students, 110 different students. And so we created a financial literacy curriculum for them on budgeting, credit cards, retirement, investments, and we made it fun. We made it engaging. We created games. We did Wheel of Fortune. We did Family Feud. We did all these components to try and get them more engaged and get them okay with money. And we found that students were more engaging when there was some type of competition attached to it because none of them wanted to lose. And so it ended up becoming more of an opportunity for us to engage with them rather than just to lecture to them.
right. I think a couple of years ago we presented the gaming and things like that to you. We were concentrating on the games then. Now we're concentrating on the content.
So move forward to where we are now. So one of the great things about financial literacy or having a project like this is that it's always moving and there's always opportunities for growth. And so what we did is we partner up with First Generation Investors now. First Generation Investors is a nonprofit that promotes financial literacy specifically in investing. So when we were teaching the students credit, budgeting, we were teaching them all that. And while we felt that that was very valuable, and it is, students do need to understand some of those concepts. One of the most daunting concepts for a high school student is investing. They don't really understand future growth. They don't understand save now, spend down later. And so it really dawned on us that maybe we need to focus more on one specific concept and maybe we need to focus more on something that's going to grow them for the future. And so we found this nonprofit organization, First Generation Investors. They presented at a national conference that I went to, and then we contacted them. And Dr. Goodpasture and I had an opportunity to visit with them, and we found out that they're a great resource. So not only do they help us provide curriculum for the students, But students will go through their entire curriculum, which is about 8 weeks. They break down investing in about six different sessions. So we go from budgeting, which we have there. We talk about credit, which we were already using. We talk about saving, which we were already doing. But then we actually shift that focus to investing. And we shift it so that students can understand that, hey, listen, if you save $50 now a week, in 50, 60 years, you're going to have X amount. And we try to do that in a way that resonates to them. Like, how many of you guys buy Starbucks? All of them were like, yeah, we all buy Starbucks, right? And so then we're like, okay, Starbucks drink is about $7, $8. How many times do you buy it a week? Some of them were buying it daily. Some of them were buying twice a week. So we used twice a week. So we said $15 a week ends up being about $60 a month, and said, okay, what happens if we invest that $60 a month over, they're all 17, 18-year-olds. What happens if we invested over, let's say, 60 years or 50 years? How much are you going to have? And they were shocked. They're like, what the heck? Really? I might have that amount of money. And so it was a great tool with it. Now, when the students complete the curriculum, there's a couple of requirements from them. The first one is that they have to create a presentation based on the curriculum, and they have to submit their presentation to FGI. But once they do so, they actually get a $100 mutual fund to their name. And this is what First Generation Investor does. It gets them started on investing. They have an opportunity to select from 10 different mutual funds. So whichever ones they go, they can select up to a $100 investment. And then once they turn 18 and graduate high school, they have to complete those two, which, they'll turn 18 eventually, right? And so we're hoping that they're going to graduate high school around that age. They get an email and that mutual fund gets turned over to them. So FGI acts as a custody for them, and then they get the $100 mutual fund, and we tell them, hey, when you get this fund, look at it, analyze it, and then start investing more if you want. And so that gives them an opportunity to actually get started with investing. And we found that a lot of the students, when we first were talking to them, they weren't necessarily very much, here, we'll go there. So they weren't necessarily very much inclined to investing. And so, backtrack a little bit, we actually piloted this program with Trio. So our Trio students that were coming to campus were here on Saturdays, and we had an opportunity to visit with them 8 Saturdays in a row, which not in a row, it ended up being every other Saturday. And then some of them decided that they had prom, so we had to move our stuff around because like they are selfish. Like, how dare they move our stuff around because you want to go to prom when you're only going to be a senior once, right? I mean, how dare they? Anyway, so we actually piloted that program with them, and we had an opportunity to see their presentations. And what would you say about their presentations?
Their presentations were very spot on. Uh, with the FGI curriculum, they say, okay, here's the 10 slides we want, and it goes from everything from, what is your risk factor, risk level, what do you want to invest in, what stock would you invest in, what mutual fund would you invest in, and what so there's a lot of different things but they had to do the 10 slides and then they presented it for the college administration, which was rather stressful for them, but it was, it's good that they got up and talked. And
Yeah.
um, then they also submitted it to FGI. Now, if they are not 18, FGI takes that $100 and invests it as directed by their PowerPoint slide. And then when they turn 18, they get the $100 plus whatever the investments have earned.
Mhm. So it really puts students into perspective. And the crazy thing is, when we're teaching there to them, they're high school kids, so they're sitting in the back and they're just like nodding. So we don't know if they're paying attention, right? I mean, because we see them nodding, but then we see their presentations and we're like, holy smokes, They paid attention, right? I mean, that was the first part. The second part was, holy smokes, it really changed our perspective because we really asked students about investing well beforehand. We asked them about risk. We asked them about all those components, and they were iffy and they didn't know. And so now that we gave them an opportunity to do that, they actually changed their demeanor in terms of investing, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to change their whole outlook because in the end, if students start investing early or if individuals start investing early, they have this thing called compounding, which is like the ninth wonder of the world, and they can take advantage of that, right? And so we wanted to make sure that they were doing that. So our trio students were our pilot programs. So we felt that this was very successful, that they asked us to come back, and now we're going to do it again over the summer. So we had an opportunity to do it with 20 students. Now we get to do it with their summer academy. And in the fall, we go back to Stephenville High School where we have an opportunity to expand on that. So the program's still growing. I think our goal is to be able to reach 50-mile radius around our campus and go to Comanche, go to Dublin, go to Fort Worth, and go to all these other high schools that can benefit from something like that, you know. And so we want to make sure that students build upon that. And our college is also moving a lot towards rural resilience and finding that. So it aligns perfectly. So when students submit their presentation or when they create their presentation, this is what they have to have. So FGI says, hey, here are 10 slides that you need to have. We don't want 12 slides. We want 10. And then it tells them they need to have that. They talk about how they can use investing. They talk about credible resources because we go through a lot of credible resources. And every session that we go through, they actually complete one slide at the end. So when we're talking the first session, they before they leave, they have to have their title, slide, name, and presentation. Then they can make edits, but they have to leave with that. Slide two, they have to have how can they invest in the future. And we talk about investing in the future. We talk about time value of money. We talk about all those components that align to it. And it gives them an opportunity to build upon that. And so it's not like, hey, we're done, build this build this PowerPoint, and these are your slides. Is every session we add a slide.
Right. And I'm sure these with slides, the content of these slides, this is all very familiar to you. You could fill out this PowerPoint slide, I mean, this type of presentation very well. But again, they pick three mutual funds that they want to put their $100 in. And then just the three lessons they've learned. We teach them a very simple approach to investing. But I say it's not easy, you know, to sit there and do without your Starbucks every morning. For some people, it's not necessarily easy, but over time, you know, they can become multimillionaires.
Yeah,
So
and so and there's a lesson where we talk about compounding and time value of money, and we actually show them what $50 a month does for them. And they're like, what? This is what a Roth IRA will grow if I invested $50. Like they would literally be a millionaire if they started today when they're 17, 16 and move forward. And so it didn't dawn on them that they too could be millionaires. Now they're going to be millionaires when they're 60, 65, but the fact that they now know that they can be a millionaire was very eye-opening for them, because we try to put things into perspective and things that they could understand, so they all understand money, and so it was very eye-opening for them to actually catch at that, right?
really, and the fact that they can do this, you know, they never consider. We're trying to give them the courage to get into investing. Is basically what FGI is all about. What, you know, reduce the barriers to investing and become more self-sufficient. Again, we're trying program expansion. We spoke with the principal the other day. She will let us know in June exactly what classes we will have and how many students.
And the goal is so FGI functions on a peer-to-peer basis. And so we're actually partnering with Texan Smart now because they have peer financial coaches. And so FGI functions on the peer-to-peer approach where the students will go out there and teach some of this content because they felt that students will learn more from their peers, even though we're a lot cooler than their peers. And so we've established that, right? I mean, we said we were a 10, they were a 5, but so we actually started working more with Text and Smart, and they're going to be working with us over the summer to learn some of that curriculum. To get them to a point where they can teach this to the high school students. And so, because we want to go to Comanche, we want to go to Fort Worth, there's only two of us. So, what we wanted to do is create this hub, this network where our students can go out there and teach that financial literacy. And so our goal was to do it on Fridays where some of our students will have less classes where we can go out there as well and create this hub and this network where we want to be able to reach in the future close to 1,000 students per year. So right now we with Stephenville High School will be close to maybe 250, 200 or so. But we want to go ahead and reach it to 1,000 students. And so 1,000 times 100. Anybody good at math? So we want to make sure that they're able to provide that amount to our students here in our area, and most importantly, get the students here in our area comfortable enough to where they can grow their investment fund. So essentially, that's what we want to do with our growth is expand it to where we have more students taking advantage of that, where we have more individuals learning about investing and not just learning about it, but actually taking part in it. Because learning something is great, but if you're not applying it and you're not really pushing to it, then it's totally useless information for you at that point. And that's where the $100 mutual fund really facilitates that. Because now they can consider themselves investors. We tell them after they submit their PowerPoint, we're like, welcome to the investment world, guys. And they're like, what? I'm an investor? I invest now. And so now it dawns on them that they're actually getting that time value of money, that they're getting this compounding. And so now it really becomes an eye-opening experience for them.
And since making these slides, we're expanding, ran across a healthcare grant. And in the past, I have taught financial literacy to people who were infected with HIV, because HIV is a rather expensive disease. And the Medicaid people wanted me to come out, and actually they were taught by students um, to, how do I handle the resources available to them? Here in Stephenville, there's a program run out of the fire department called Stephenville Cares, where they coordinate services to make sure everyone is receiving effective healthcare treatment. And if you didn't know, one of my degrees is in nursing. I was an RN for a long time. Anyway, so that's why I have an interest in this. But in Stephenville Cares, they also put on programs, educational programs. And we're wondering, I'm trying to reach out to them. Would something like this be of interest to them? There's also Houston Academy here in town. It's a charter school. Um, and I was the superintendent just happened to live across the street from me. And when I found that out, hey, you interested? And he said, yeah, let's come talk. So there's a lot of opportunities to this, a lot of interest. Um, so anyway, we're kind of excited about it. Something else that we didn't mention in the background is the state of Texas has required students in public school at least to go through financial literacy course. And if they graduate, I think it's 2028, all students who graduate in 2028 have to have
Mhm.
financial literacy training. So we've kind of caught a wave here,
Yep.
of interest. Didn't plan it that way, but it works out. You take advantage of what you have. So
Yeah, and I think that's why when we went to the high school, they were very excited and they were very quick to help us align with their curriculum, because now that Texas requires it. I mean, it was just the perfect opportunity for us to really just go in there and give the kids $100. And so we haven't really figured out what it's going to look like specifically. We're going to be working those kinks over the summer, but we do know that we'll have a presence starting here in Stephenville and then expanding out to our distinguished partner high schools and be able to provide that benefit to them.
so
Okay. So any questions concerning our gossip? So we figured that we wanted to be within time. It's 8:30, and so we understand that. But do y'all have any questions, any concerns, or yeah?
comes from the FGI.
Yes.
Okay, I was gonna say, who's funding it?
Yeah.
And so you said they're a national organization?
Yes. They're a national organization,
Not-for-profit.
nonprofit that they actually have donors give them the amount that they can go ahead and invest in the schools. And so we are actually we were the second Texas school to actually implement the FGI curriculum. There was one in San Antonio, and we're the second one, and now I think they're going into DFW.
Right. We were the first program to do it over more extended time frame. Most of the previous presentations had been done in 1 or 2 days, whereas we did it over 8 presentations.
Prom. Right? I mean, yeah, prom.
So yeah, I almost went into about how much prom costs, but anyway.
I believe they now know. Yeah.
So no, it was FGI has been great, and you talked about FGI giving the $100. Somewhere I ran across a press release or some athlete gave them $100, excuse me, 100, gave them $1 million for their program. So we keep telling them now, is there a limit to the number of students that we can do this with? And they have not given us a limit.
Yeah, so we're just gonna keep adding to it until they tell us to stop.
Yeah, really.
I think that's amazing. A lot of people, and especially people that come from a lower socioeconomic background. I mean, I did. I grew up kind of in poverty, and even after I got degrees and my husband and I worked and had money, we still like basically put it in a jar, buried it in the backyard.
Right.
Not really, it was in a bank. But
Where do you live?
it took us a very long time to consider ourselves like an investor.
Right.
Dr. Sundarajan, his kid grew up with that, so we were partying, Jerry, you're my husband, you're leaving money on the table. We'd see him at Walmart and he'd walk by. "You're
Oh,
leaving
yeah.
money on the table." So he finally at least got us thinking, and we went to, get it done. But you don't see yourself as
Yeah.
an investor.
And
Even
you
as an
don't.
adult, if you don't grow up.
And a lot of these kids, we ask them, well, how much do you need to start investing with? And they say $10,000. And they'll say, oh, at least 1,000. And so they don't have $1,000. But we tell them, how many of you guys have $5 or $10? There's apps right now that'll do it for you. I mean, my daughter is 3 and she has a Roth IRA, right? And so that's the thing, it's not too early to get them started on some of those components, and you want them to know that it is possible for them. And one of the questions that we'll ask on our survey is, people like me can invest from now on. And so I'm really curious as to what that's going to do in the post survey.
Right. Yes, as far as research opportunities, when I first was introduced to FGI, I went, Google Scholar and said, okay, what's all the papers about FGI? None. So as far as potential research, this is kind of an open area. So that excites me a lot. But we're excited about it. I think there's a lot of opportunities with it. I'm sorry, other questions? Any questions from the cloud up there?
I didn't see any on the chat. No.
I will say too, we always tried to teach our son about investing and save money and stuff. And he just turned 29 the other day. And he and his buddies, one's getting married, so they did a bachelor party trip to New Mexico. They were going to go to a casino, and he was on his way and called me, and I said, "Hey, how much money you taking for the casino?" He goes, "None." And I go, "What?" He goes, and I thought, good for him for a minute. And then he goes, "I don't know how to get money." Like he's investing in his 401k. He's doing like all these things. He didn't realize, I mean, he doesn't touch money anymore. And like, he goes, "I don't know how to get money." Well, he banks here at Interbank, and so he lives in Fort Worth now. And he was like, "I don't know how to get money anymore." So he did the casino, and it cost him a lot to get it out of the ATM. But I was like, there's holes in his education. I obviously missed it.
Yeah.
That he did not know how to get money. So.
Well, during the first session, we're talking about investing. One student brings up lotteries.
Gambling. He said, what do you think about
Is the
gambling?
lottery a good investment? And so it takes a while, and after series of never received that question again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of understand.
He said, what if I gamble? Because I'm gonna put it on black. Or I'm gonna put it over here. Like gambling is good when you win. I mean,
Right, yeah.
it's only good if you win all the
Yeah.
time.
So we're trying to get up conversations about finance. I like your comments about people would rather talk about people.
Yeah. So there's actually research out there where people would rather talk about their sex life at work rather than how much money they make. And so it's insane, and the fact that that's even true, it's insane because that just means that we haven't really learned to talk about money. We feel more comfortable talking about our personal lives than we would about investing or how much money do you make because we've made it this taboo. Even people at work don't tell people how much you make, right? You know, you've compressed everybody, don't speak, right? And so yeah, and that's the thing, you know, it's such as a taboo topic to where rather than having an open conversation, and even divorce nowadays, one of the biggest components is money. And so if you don't have an open conversation about money, that really does lead to a lot of problems. And so, any other questions?
Other question. I mean, we can talk longer.
Yeah, we can talk about money all day long, right?
Anything else? Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Love that y'all are doing that. And it's just, hey,
Just
Oh.